Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom, surrounded by tall green forests and sparkling rivers, there lived a young princess who was loved by everyone in the palace. She was gentle, kind, and full of curiosity. But among all her treasures, the one she loved most was a shining golden ball. This golden ball was no ordinary toy. It gleamed like the sun, smooth and round, glowing even in the moonlight. The princess carried it everywhere, through the royal gardens, down marble hallways, and especially to the grand palace courtyard, where she would toss it high into the sky and catch it with joy. The golden ball was her secret friend, her greatest comfort, and the source of her laughter. She guarded it carefully, never letting it out of her sight. One warm afternoon, the princess wandered to the edge of the forest, where a beautiful marble fountain stood. The fountain was filled with crystal-clear water that sparkled in the sunlight, and at its center, water leapt high into the air before falling back with a soothing sound. The princess sat by the fountain's edge, tossing her golden ball up and down. Plink, plink! She caught it again and again. She laughed, her voice echoing through the forest. But then, oh no, her fingers slipped. The ball fell from her hands, and splash! It dropped straight into the fountain. The princess gasped. "Oh no, my golden ball!" She leaned over the fountain's edge, but the ball had already sunk deep, down to where the water was too dark to see. Her heart ached. She felt tears prick her eyes. Just as the princess began to cry, a small voice croaked nearby. "Why are you so sad, little princess?" Startled, she looked around. From the water rose a green frog, his eyes shining like tiny lanterns. He hopped onto the fountain's edge and tilted his head kindly. "My golden ball," the princess sobbed. "It fell into the fountain and I cannot reach it." The frog blinked slowly. "Is that all? If you will promise to be my friend, to let me eat from your plate, drink from your cup, and rest on your pillow, I will fetch your golden ball." The princess hesitated. The frog was so small and slimy. How could she ever share her plate and pillow with him? But her golden ball was more precious than anything. "Yes, yes," she said quickly. "I promise you anything you want. Only bring back my ball." The frog smiled. With a graceful dive, he slipped into the water. The princess leaned closer, waiting, her hands clasped. Within moments, the frog reappeared, balancing the glittering golden ball on his head. "Oh, my ball!" cried the princess, snatching it up joyfully. She twirled in delight, hugging it tightly. But in her excitement, she forgot all about the frog. Without another word, she ran back to the palace, leaving him behind. That evening, the princess dined with her family in the grand hall. Golden chandeliers lit the room, and musicians played softly in the background. She had almost forgotten the day's adventure, when suddenly, thump, 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 a sound echoed through the hall. The heavy wooden doors creaked open. To her shock, there stood the frog, his eyes blinking, his little body damp from the fountain. "Princess," he croaked loudly, "do not forget your promise." The king looked at his daughter in surprise. "What does this mean, my dear?" Blushing deeply, the princess whispered, "Father, when I lost my golden ball, this frog fetched it for me. In return, I promised he could eat at my table, drink from my cup, and rest on my pillow. But I never thought he would truly come." The king frowned gently but firmly. "A promise is a promise. What you have spoken, you must keep. Invite him in, my daughter." Reluctantly, the princess nodded. She pulled out a tiny silver plate, and the frog hopped onto the table. Though she wrinkled her nose, she pushed some of her bread and fruit toward him. The frog ate happily. When she drank from her golden cup, the frog croaked, "Let me sip as well." And though she shivered, she passed the cup to him. He drank, his throat bubbling. Finally, when it was time for bed, the frog hopped after her down the long hallway. "Lift me up, princess," he said. for I am tired." The princess protested, "Oh, must I?" But from behind came her father's voice, "Remember your promise." So with trembling hands, she picked him up and carried him to her room. In her chamber, the princess placed the frog on her silk pillow. She lay down as far away as she could, her golden ball clutched tightly to her chest. But the frog did not disturb her. He simply closed his eyes and whispered, "Thank you, dear princess. Rest well." Something in his gentle voice surprised her. He wasn't demanding anymore. He seemed kind, even lonely. The princess thought of his courage, diving into the deep water for her. Slowly her heart softened. "Good night, little frog," she whispered. At that very moment, a soft glow filled the room. The princess sat up in wonder. The frog shimmered, his green skin fading away like mist. Before her eyes, he transformed into a handsome young prince, his eyes warm with gratitude. The princess gasped. "Who are you?" The prince bowed. "I was once a prince of this land, but a wicked witch cursed me to live as a frog until a princess would keep her promise and show me kindness. You, dear princess, have broken the spell." The princess smiled in amazement. She no longer clutched her golden ball. She had discovered something far more precious: friendship and kindness. From that day forward, the prince visited the palace often. He and the princess became inseparable friends, laughing together, exploring the gardens and sharing stories late into the evening. Eventually, they grew older, and their bond deepened into love. One day, with the blessing of the king and queen, they married in a grand celebration that lasted 7 days and 7 nights. The golden ball still shone brightly, but now it was only a symbol, for the princess had learned that true happiness was not found in treasures, but in keeping one's word and opening one's heart. And so the princess and the prince lived happily ever after. The golden ball remained in the royal treasury, a reminder of the day when kindness and honesty brought 2 hearts together. The lesson of this story is simple yet powerful. Promises matter, and kindness has the power to transform lives.